and welcome. Second video for D&D 101, and I'm going to be talking about role-playing. This is a huge part of tabletop RPGs like D&D. It's a tabletop role-playing game, and so I'm going to talk a bit about what that looks like and some tips and things to be thinking about for your enjoyment and comfort and what is going to be going on at the table for this weird mix of dice and acting and improvisation. So, role-playing. Playing a role, playing somebody that is different than you or not you at the table. This is entirely a comfort and expectations thing between you, the other players, and the DM on what you are hoping to get out of your experience. If you have no clue what you're doing with D&D and you're just figuring it out, you don't need to make a bold step of like, oh, I'm going to play a character that is so opposite from who I am as a person. Like, if you want to play somebody close to the chest that is just like you, that is totally fine. D&D is not meant to make people uncomfortable. It is meant to be a fun team experience. And so talking with the other people and figuring out, hey, what's our goal here? What are we trying to do? Here's what I'm comfortable with. Here's what I'm wanting to do. That's the hope. That's the goal. So with that, first step with role-playing is going to be talk to your other players, talk to your DM. Hey, I've never played D&D before. What are we trying to do, and what type of character am I making here? Great questions to ask. Just kind of see where everybody else is at and what other people are doing. If you've seen or heard D&D before, it's very likely you've heard people use some type of character voice. Something that means, hey, my character is talking instead of me talking. This is not required, and it's not even necessarily role-playing. It's just a voice. I've seen some people role-play extremely well using their own speaking voice. It is not, they are not the same. And so I just want to disperse right now from the very beginning. Role-playing isn't necessarily using a voice. You don't have to change your voice to play Dungeons & Dragons. It can be helpful, but it is not necessary. I'll explain for a second why it might be helpful though. There's a lot of crosstalk, there's a lot of person-to-person talking where you as a player are talking to the other players, the people who are sitting at the table, about what you were doing, versus when you were talking as your character to the other characters about what you were doing. And so because of that differentiation, because you are yourself and this character that you're playing, it can be helpful for you to just have something that means I'm talking versus my character is talking. So if you are looking to do that and you are uncomfortable with doing a voice, you can do so many different things to try to differentiate it. It could be as simple as like you have a pen or a thing, an object that if you hold it up, you are talking in character, and if you put it down, you're just you. Anything like that can just kind of help other people understand, oh, are we in game or are we not right now? If it is a voice and you were like, oh, I would just like to do some simple change to differentiate that, just try to figure out one that you're comfortable with. It doesn't have to be something that is difficult or starkly different that is jarring. It could be just a different register. It could be higher up and I'm, okay, when I'm a character, I'm talking up here and it just sounds a little bit different and the ends of my sentences go a little bit higher. And then this is my normal talking voice where I'm like, hey, I'm talking with you right now as me, and as Dan. And so just like that, right now you know I'm talking as me, but hey, now I'm talking as my character again. And you can kind of hear that subtle difference and you know the difference, and then I'm me again. It doesn't have to be a lot of work. It can also be posture. And so if I'm in my character, I'm down here, my back's a little hunched over, my shoulders are a little bit forward, I'm looking down a lot. This could be, all right, I'm sitting here like, you know I'm talking as my character right now. But I'm leaning back. All right, here we go. What are we talking about? Where are we going? What's the plan here? Are we able to do this? Subtle differences, things like that can just change character from player. This next step I'm going to be talking about with role-playing is, why is that distinction important? Typically, when you're playing Dungeons & Dragons, the type of character that you are playing might be different than you, and they're going to be in a lot of situations that you yourself have never been in. And it can be fun to do things that you yourself wouldn't do. And then you start to get into these steps of, oh, so my character has a personality. My character is a different person than I am. So what am I going to use to make decisions as them versus decisions as me? And so with that, you can start to get an idea of who your character is. So if you've written up some type of backstory, which I'll make another video on for this too, and your backstory helps inform the decisions that your character would make, then that right there is where role-playing happens. It is not a voice. It is not the way that you are informing what your character is doing. It's the way that your character has personality and has reasoning for the decisions that they make. It is a role that they have, where they are playing that out based on who they are. So you are feeding that relationship. So an example of that could very simply be my character, while growing up, was walking through the woods with their best friend, and a pack of wolves attacked. I got away, my friend did not. So your character, depending on how you want to play them, may hate and loathe and despise wolves and see them and just want to act out of anger and vengeance, remembering the pain that they went through when they lost their friend. Or it could be the opposite. Your character, reliving that incident, deeply fears fighting wolves and associates them with the pain and loss and hurt of their past. Two completely different directions to go, all up to you on what type of character you're wanting to play. And that is where role-playing can come in as well. And so thinking about that as you're building out your character and their backstory and the type of interactions that you think are fun and enjoyable for this type of game, that's when you're getting into what type of role-playing would you like? What do you think is fun? What type of character is entertaining for you and would make your experience enjoyable? My final note on this one is going to be, there is a common challenge in role-playing and writing a backstory that can turn out to be a damaging and hurtful experience for other people at the table. This comes into play when somebody's idea of a character has actions built into them that is overall hurtful to other people in the party. An example of this that's very simple, very common is, I'm going to play a rogue. My rogue likes to steal things. My rogue likes to steal everything. And so that has no boundaries or no line. And so the first night that this group is in camp, out in the wilderness, my rogue is going to sneak into my friend's tent and just take everything that they have. Find all their money, find their weapons, put them in my bag. It's what my character would do. And that's where the line is. That's where it's, of course that's what your character would do, because you made that character. You made that decision of, this is the type of character I want to play. And so my word of caution, my word of warning there is, especially for new folks who are trying to work together, trying to figure this out, trying to have a good time, creating a character that has habits, that has interests, or some type of decision-making thing built into them that does not differentiate friend or foe, that says, no matter who it is, I'm going to do this thing that is inconvenient to others. Making that character can be challenging and annoying and really frustrate a table of people because you created a character that would do those things. So with that, create a character that knows that their party will come together and will want to be helpful and good to them, that none of them will be the enemy, and enemies are going to be people outside of the party that you can then rob and try to have whatever chaotic fun you want to, where the victims are other people that are NPCs that the DM is running. And that you try to hold together the bond of the party at the table, of the players that are coming together to enjoy the game. This is my best advice for you as you're thinking about role-playing and trying to figure out who your character is going to be. I will go a lot deeper into that for the backstory video for this series too. So with that, check out the backstory video. Good luck. I'm really excited for you to get onto a table, connect with some friends, and to get started with Dungeons & Dragons.